Welcome to the Reliable Prepper channel, your go-to source for all things survival and preparedness. We're here to equip you with practical and reliable information that you can use to prepare for a variety of survival scenarios. Today we're going to delve into an essential aspect of survival that's often overlooked: communication. But not just any communication. We're talking about secure and informed communication in SHTF, or stuff hits the fan scenarios. We'll explore the various types of communication systems available, how to use them effectively and securely, and how to stay informed without compromising your location. With the right knowledge and tools, you can maintain essential lines of communication while remaining hidden and safe. So let's get started and dive into the intricacies of secure communication in survival scenarios. Stay with us as we navigate the airwaves and digital highways of secure communication in a world gone awry. In any emergency situation, communication is key. It's a lifeline that connects us to the world, keeping us informed about what's happening around us. It's particularly crucial in a SHTF scenario, where information can mean the difference between life and death. Imagine this: the grid has gone down, no internet, no cell service, and the television broadcasts have ceased. Suddenly, you're cut off from the world, isolated and left in the dark. What's going on? How can you find out? This is where the importance of reliable, secure communication comes into play. Knowing how to communicate effectively in these scenarios can help you stay informed about essential developments. Whether it's a weather update, safety warnings, or news about resources, it can also allow you to reach out to others to seek help or offer assistance. But with the potential for chaos and lawlessness, it's equally important to keep your communication private and secure to avoid any unwanted attention. There's a range of communication methods you might consider, from tried and true radio transmissions to the more modern internet and cell phones. Each has its strengths and weaknesses, and understanding these can help you choose the right one for your situation. But remember, not all information is created equal. In a crisis, it's crucial to know which sources you can trust. Official emergency broadcasts, ham radio networks, and shortwave broadcasts can provide reliable, up-to-date information. Once you've got the information, what next? It's about being smart with it. This means validating the information, cross-referencing sources, and being careful about when and how you transmit to avoid detection. In the digital age, it's also important to consider how to minimize your digital footprint. Simple measures like using airplane mode or a VPN can offer some protection. And let's not forget about power management. You'll need to keep your devices running. As with any survival skill, it's all about preparation. So start planning your communication strategy for when SHTF now. Learn the skills, gather the necessary resources, and practice discretion. Because when the time comes, you'll be glad you did. Let's explore the different types of communication in these scenarios. When the grid is down, there are still ways to stay connected. One of the most reliable forms of communication in a SHTF scenario is radio communication. Shortwave radios, for instance, are excellent for long-range communication and can even receive international broadcasts. This way you can stay informed about global events, even when local networks are down. Then we have ham radios. These require a license, but they're invaluable for emergency communications. They offer both local and long-distance coverage, making them versatile tools in any prepper's arsenal. Don't forget about CB radios. While their range is more limited, they're commonly used by truckers and can be a great source of local updates. For close-knit groups, walkie-talkies are the way to go. They're perfect for short-range communication, especially when you need to stay in touch with your team without drawing attention. But what about the internet and cell phones? Well, these can be a double-edged sword. On the one hand, they give you access to a wealth of information and can put you in touch with people across the globe. On the other hand, they're reliant on functioning networks and can be tracked, posing potential security risks. If you do decide to use them, be aware of the risks. Your cell phone pings can be tracked and your internet activity can be monitored. So if you're trying to stay off the grid, use these tools wisely and sparingly. Now, let's not forget about another crucial aspect of communication: the source of your information. In a SHTF scenario, where you get your information from can be just as important as the information itself. Official emergency broadcasts, such as those from NOAA Weather Radio or the Emergency Alert System, are reliable sources for weather updates and emergency alerts. Local ham radio clubs often have emergency communication plans, and the National Traffic System provides a structured network for passing emergency messages. Shortwave broadcasts can also be a valuable source of information. You can receive unbiased and varied perspectives from different countries, and government stations can keep you up to date on national and global events. Now that we know the types of communication, let's talk about where to get the information from. Not all sources are created equal when it comes to reliable information. In a situation where everything has hit the fan, trustworthy information becomes as vital as food and water. It's a lifeline, a beacon in the fog of uncertainty. First, consider official emergency broadcasts. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, weather radio is a reliable source for weather updates and emergency alerts. Housed within the Department of Commerce, NOAA broadcasts 24/7, providing the most accurate and up-to-date weather information. During a crisis, this service often becomes the primary source of official emergency information. Next, we have the Emergency Alert System, or EAS. It's a national public warning system that broadcasts emergency information across various media, including radio and television networks, satellite radio, and cable systems. Whether it's a national emergency or localized disaster, the EAS is designed to reach the largest audience possible. Now let's shift gears to ham radio networks. Local ham radio clubs often have emergency communication plans in place. These groups are made up of licensed amateur radio operators who use their skills and equipment for public service and emergency communications. They're a valuable resource and can often provide on-the-ground updates during a crisis. The National Traffic System, or NTS, is another component of the ham radio network. It's a structured network for passing emergency messages or traffic across the country. In a disaster scenario, the NTS can be a lifeline, connecting isolated areas and providing crucial updates. Shortwave broadcasts are another valuable source of information. By tuning into international news broadcasts, you can receive unbiased and varied perspectives from different countries. This global viewpoint can provide insights that domestic sources might overlook or omit. Government stations, often found on shortwave frequencies, relay information on national and global events. While it's important to approach any source with a critical eye, these broadcasts can offer an official perspective on unfolding situations. Let's not forget the importance of cross-referencing. In a world of misinformation and half-truths, it's crucial to cross-check information from different channels for accuracy. This practice helps to filter out the noise and focus on the truth. Finally, local intel gathering plays a significant role. Utilize trusted local contacts and community groups to get a sense of what's happening on the ground. These sources can often provide real-time updates and personal insights that larger networks may miss. It's not enough to just have the information, you need to know how to use it. In the next scene, we'll dive into the best practices for utilizing this information. So, stay tuned as we continue to navigate through the fog of uncertainty together. Knowledge is power, but only if you know how to use it. In a survival situation, the effective utilization of information can be a game changer. Let's dive into some best practices on how to do just that. Firstly, consider the art of passive monitoring. This is the practice of quietly gathering information without drawing attention to yourself. Think of it as being a fly on the wall. You're there, you're listening, but no one knows you're present. To do this effectively, consider multi-source monitoring. This means using a variety of radios to scan different frequencies. Shortwave, ham, CB, all have their unique advantages. By diversifying your sources, you're less likely to miss crucial information. However, it's essential to manage your resources wisely. Radios, especially ones that constantly scan frequencies, can eat up power, so set specific times for regular check-ins. This will help you conserve power and minimize exposure. Now, not all information gathered should be taken at face value. This brings us to our second point, information validation. Cross-referencing is your best friend here. Always compare the information from different channels for accuracy. Remember the old saying, trust but verify? It's especially true in survival scenarios. In addition to cross-referencing, local intel gathering can prove invaluable. This means utilizing trusted local contacts and community groups. They can provide first-hand information about local situations that might not make it to broader broadcasts. Now, while gathering information is important, it's equally crucial to avoid detection. This is where the concept of radio silence comes into play. This means not transmitting any information yourself. The more you transmit, the more likely you are to be detected. So, listen more, talk less. In addition to maintaining radio silence, be mindful of where you keep your radios and antennas. Keep them in discreet, secure locations away from prying eyes. Remember, out of sight, out of mind. Lastly, it's essential to have a plan. Emergency preparedness is not just about having the right gear, it's about knowing how to use it. Pre-plan your communication protocols and fallback options. Know your frequencies, know your check-in times, know your safe words. The more you plan now, the less you have to think when the pressure is on. But remember, every step you take online leaves a digital footprint. So while it's important to stay informed, it's equally crucial to do so responsibly. As we move into our next segment, we'll discuss how to minimize your digital footprint while staying connected. Because in a survival situation, it's not just about staying alive, it's about staying invisible. In the digital age, staying hidden is a challenge. As we navigate through this interconnected world, our digital footprints can often lead back to us. So how do we minimize our digital trace? Let's start with cell phones. These handheld devices are the biggest culprits when it comes to leaving a digital trail. One simple way to reduce this footprint is by switching your phone to airplane mode when not in use. This prevents your phone from pinging cell towers and potentially revealing your location. But let's take it a step further. Consider using a burner phone. These disposable phones can be bought cheaply and used for emergency purposes only. Once you're done with them, they can be discarded without a trace. Remember, the less you use your primary phone, the smaller your digital footprint. Now let's talk about the internet. It's a vast information highway, but it's also a playground for those who want to track your activities. Using virtual private networks, or VPNs, can offer an added layer of security. They mask your IP address and encrypt your data, making it harder for anyone to track your online activities. However, bear in mind, while VPNs enhance your privacy, they are not completely foolproof. Another key aspect to consider is your reliance on online resources. The more you're online, the bigger your digital footprint. So consider downloading essential resources like maps, survival guides, and other important information. This way, you'll reduce your need to go online when the chips are down. Remember, in a SHTF scenario, your digital footprint can be as revealing as a trail of footprints in the snow. The less you leave behind, the safer you'll be. In conclusion, minimizing your digital footprint is all about being conscious of your digital activities. The more you can do offline, the better. And when you do need to go online, take the necessary precautions to protect your privacy and security. Let's move on to some practical tips and tricks. Now, let's get hands-on. First, let's talk about building a Faraday cage. An essential part of any prepper's toolkit, a Faraday cage is a protective shield against electromagnetic pulses, or EMPs, that can fry your electronics. You can craft one out of everyday items like aluminum foil, metal containers, or specialized bags. Wrap your device thoroughly in aluminum foil, then place it in the metal container. Make sure there are no gaps or holes. If you're using a specialized bag, just pop your device in and seal it tight. This simple step could save your vital communication devices in the event of an EMP. Next, we delve into power management. Radios and other communication devices are of no use if they're out of juice. Solar chargers offer a reliable power source for your devices and are a must-have. They're efficient, renewable, and can power multiple devices simultaneously. But remember, not all days will be sunny, so you need to conserve battery power as well. Make sure to rotate and conserve batteries. Use devices sparingly and switch them off when not in use. Hand crank options are also worth considering. They require a bit of elbow grease, but they can be a lifesaver when batteries are scarce. Let's not forget about the importance of staying hidden. Your radio transmissions can give away your location to those with less than friendly intentions. So, transmit sparingly and only when necessary. And remember, the best place to hide is in plain sight. Keep your radios and antennas in discreet, secure locations where they blend into the surroundings. Speaking of staying hidden, it's also crucial to minimize your digital footprint. Switch your cell phone to airplane mode when not in use to prevent tracking. Consider using burner phones for emergency use only. Keep your internet usage to a minimum and utilize VPNs and secure browsing for added security. And remember, download essential information like maps and resources beforehand to avoid online activity. Lastly, always have a plan. Pre-plan your communication protocols and fallback options. Know where to tune in for reliable information, know when to check in, and know when to stay silent. Communication is not just about talking, it's also about listening and knowing when to keep quiet. And there you have it. From building a Faraday cage to managing power sources to staying hidden, these practical tips and tricks should help you stay informed while staying hidden in any survival scenario. With these tips, you're well on your way to being a communication expert in survival scenarios. That's a wrap on today's guide to SHTF communication. We've journeyed through the different types of communication methods, from radios to cell phones, all tailored for those sticky situations. The emphasis has always been on staying informed while maintaining privacy and security. In a world of uncertainty, it's vital we know how to get reliable information without giving away our location. It's not just about having a plan, but about practicing discretion and ensuring your plan works for you. Remember, the key is to be prepared, not scared. There's no better time than now to start preparing your own communication plan. Equip yourself with knowledge, the right tools, and the practice to use them effectively. Thanks for tuning in to the Reliable Prepper channel. Please subscribe, like, and share for more survival tips. Remember, knowledge is power and preparation is key. Stay safe, stay prepared, and stay connected.